Have I got the right place?
That's right. Come on in.
How are you, Richard?
Hi, Steven. Nice to meet
pleasure.
you. Thank you so much for coming by.
Glad to be here. What a beautiful spot, wide open.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we're very happy with the house.
Yeah.
But the problem I emailed you about is upstairs, if you don't mind following me.
I will follow you up.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, Richard, the problem's right in there if you want to
All
head
right.
in first.
There is our wobbling toilet.
Yes, that thing has been jiggling ever since we moved in.
Okay.
So we moved into the house within the last year, and what we do know about the house is that it was built in 1903 and had a total gut renovation about 3 years ago. And so the toilet's been wobbling, and it was actually picked up on inspection.
I tell you, the finishes are beautiful. I mean, they really did a beautiful job in the part I can see.
Right.
What I don't know is what they did underneath.
Right.
So before I pull this out, I actually brought some stuff along. I'm going to review what I hope to find underneath here.
Sure, sounds good.
All right. All right, so I've set up a little tabletop of what we might find, okay? The key to this is a thing called the flange. The flange might look like this in steel, plastic, brass, or even cast iron. And so that has two functions. One is to make a tight connection to the bottom of the bowl, and we do that utilizing these special bolts. These are called closet bolts, and you'll see that they have a little shape right here that allows you to go into a keyway. And these have to be exactly 12 inches on center off the back of the building. And that will allow, after you put your toilet bowl on, then a little cap right here for the toilet, and then a nut like this, you can actually tighten this down. But what's critically important as well is that the flange itself has to be secured to the building. So these holes allow you to go down through the tile into the plywood or subfloor. And it's really important to have these held in place. Okay? If not, when you're tipping, it's tipping not only the bowl, but the flange itself, okay? And that's not good.
Right.
And the last component to this is to have a wax seal, and that'll protect against water leaking or odor coming back into the building. Now, we may open this up and find that this flange is broken off, and if that be the case, they make all sorts of devices that will allow you to come onto here and add it as a repair and resecure it, that flange. Here's one that would let you have a seal down onto the old work, but secure it into the floor in a different place. And here's your two new bolts for holding the toilet. All right, are you ready to try it though?
Yeah, sure. Let's take a look.
All right, so first we have to get the water out of this toilet. So I'm going to turn the water off. There's always a shutoff right here on the left-hand side. And now we want to get all the water out of both the tank and the bowl. I'll give you that.
Sure.
We flush. We have some water in the tank and we still have a full bowl. So there's a bunch of ways to do it. We can take a wet vac, take a small cup like this and sort of dump it, a rag, but we also could use a turkey baster. And I think, why don't I give you this job to do? I think you might be overqualified, Doc. Get the water out and I'll be right back.
Sure, sounds good.
All right, you all good on that?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much set here.
Perfect. Let me jump in there and let's break the water connection. You just loosen this nut carefully. All right, so there are bolt cap covers, and here's our nut and bolt right here. This is generally 7/16 open end dimension. I'm going to loosen that. Set those aside. Same on the other side. When you lift, you want to keep your back as straight as you can. Okay. Okay, let's see what you got. All right, so it is a PVC flange. Here's the PVC pipe right here. I'll tell you, the flange looks fine, so we probably could have just tightened up those nuts, okay? That's the good news. And it's secured perfectly. You see there's 4 screws going down into it. Looks like it's really solid. But what I do notice is, this is so typical. They probably roughed in the plumbing and had the flange, and this might have been from the previous work, but then they finished it out with tile. Look at the height of the tile. So this flange is down by about 1/4 of an inch from the finished grade of the tile. And at the least case, it should be flush with the tile. And it's actually designed to be on top of the tile right here and still allow for a perfectly tight seal. So we don't have to change anything, but we do have to think about what we use in between the flange and the bottom of the bowl. We might not use a typical wax ring. We might use something a little deeper to make sure it never leaks. All right, so it's important to get a really good water and airtight seal to the bottom of that bowl. So I brought along these options of how you're going to make that seal. This is the standard. A wax ring like this is what's always been used, and this is the one with the horn. So let's pretend that this is your tile right here. Here's where, we'd love to have that flange right here, but it isn't. It's down this much. So we could put this on and tighten it down, but it still doesn't let us compress that wax fully because the tile will stop it from going all the way down. This is a foam one that came out some years ago, and it goes here, and this really compresses down no matter what. But this one catches my eye. This one has wax on the back, and now it would go onto here, right here. The bowl would go here. The horn of the bowl would go down here. It would push, 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 make a nice tight seal here, but also that wax would deform to fill that gap and make a tight seal. Got it. So that's going to be our hero.
Great.
All right, so here's where we're going to put it right onto the existing flange. It'll sit just like this, and the wax will compress beautifully down against the old flange.
Can I ask you what happened to the old wax ring?
Well, it doesn't look like as much wax that's on here, so I assume that you've got a ring on the bottom that will pull that off and get that all cleaned up before we reinstall it. Now, I'd also like to give you an upgrade on the closet bolts. This is the standard closet bolt right here in that keyway I talked about. And this is what it looks like new. This is the standard. What I'd like to show you is this. Look at the difference here and how hefty it is. But also with this, normally you put it in, you have to cut it off with a little mini hacksaw. With this, we put them in, and we never have to cut it because it'll tighten down beautifully and really help squeeze this thing together. You get an upgrade.
Great.
Nothing's too good.
I'll take it.
So now I just got to get over those bolts perfectly. Oh yeah. So now there's a batting order. So there's the base of the cap, a washer, and the nut. Get that caught, and the cap will go over that. All right, so this is a little bigger wrench than the other one. This is 9/16. All right, so the trick to this is to tighten them up going back and forth, but not to over tighten them. So I know most people are afraid to do this. So confront your fears. All right. If we hear the china go snap. All right, once you make up the water connection too. See the big nut there at the top?
Yep.
Don't cross the threads. Beauty. Good. All right, turn the water on. All right, water's back on. Good job. Let's put the tank cover on. I think it's time for you to give it a wiggle.
Sure.
Never been that tight, right?
That's amazing. Not a wobble in sight.
All right, so then we put the bowl caps on, and our work is done here.
Great, thank you so much. Now, before you go, if it's okay, I've just got one more thing, if you don't mind taking a look at it for me.
While you're here, line?
If that's all right.
All right, let's go.
Thank you. So it's just down this way.
All right, great. They really did a great renovation here, Steve.
Yeah, we've been really happy with it.
Open plan. All right, what do you got?
So this is the other problem I was telling you about. For the left-hand side, the left handle here just is really, really sticky. And we've been trying really hard to teach our two young kids on how to be good about hand hygiene,
Yep.
and they can't even turn this to wash their hands themselves.
That is tough. Well, it's a new world because in the old days, if a faucet like this, we just take it apart and re-washer it, and it was simple. We always had the parts. But nowadays, there's so many faucets on the market, it becomes sort of a game to try and figure out how to get the original parts. Do you have the original paperwork from the remodel done?
I wish. Didn't come with the house.
It's in the dumpster?
Yeah, probably.
Actually, the most important tool for us right now is a camera. Let me do this. What I'm going to do is I know there's a really good supply company right here that has all kinds of parts. I'm going to take this and see if we can find these parts before I take it apart, all right?
Okay.
Why don't you turn the water off?
Okay.
And I'll be back, or not.
Hopefully.
All right, so did you miss me?
Absolutely. Thank you for coming back, more importantly.
Well, I've had a very informative hour or two. So we went online and we found the manual. We
Okay.
printed it, so that was great.
Great.
Here's the part that we need for inside there, the stem unit. But I also learned a ton because at the supply place, they had one that went bad, a repair that went bad. So this will teach us a lot.
Okay.
So underneath this sink, there's two stem units, one here and one on the coal side. You see there's a gasket right here and a gasket right here. They make this on tight, and then they tighten up these screws against the bottom of this china so tight that this is never going to leak, and it'll be nice and tight.
Okay.
And then the way to get this handle off, or any handle off, is that, you see, this is supposed to be a beautifully milled piece that can just loosen. And what the reason this had to be cut off was that the plumber used pipe dope. See the remnants of the pipe dope in here?
What exactly is pipe dope? Why would the plumber put that
It's
on
a
there in the first
security
place?
blanket for us plumbers.
Okay.
You would put it onto everything, but there's really no need for it in this example because all that this beautifully milled thread is doing is holding the handle on. There's no water that's going to go against it because the waterproof point is here and here.
Got it.
Okay? So now, water's off, right? You sure?
I hope so.
Okay, good. So now what we want to do is to see if we can loosen, and this is really the key to it. You got to figure out how the original installer got them on, and once you understand the sort of the puzzle, it makes it simpler. Okay, so now this should pull straight up. Okay, and there's those beautiful threads,
Yeah.
no pipe dope in it.
Yep.
Okay, and there's our gasket. So now down inside here, there's a stem unit like this. Would you
Okay.
hold that?
Of course.
And we know that this is 11/16, so I've got the right socket right here. And now we're going to loosen this. It's nice brass thread, so it should come apart. Yeah. So let's look at the difference.
Yeah.
So there's the new shiny one.
Right.
There's the old one. And what's inside this is these two beautifully milled pieces of ceramic. So let me just turn this one. So you can see there's an opening and it's closed, open, closed. What I think must have happened is just, this is just wear, you know, just will not let that thing turn enough, okay?
Got it.
So that might be it. There's a nice O-ring right here, and no need for pipe dope.
Right. Wonderful.
Okay. So we go here, reverse our wrench. Okay, now try to catch that thread.
Sure.
Is it catching?
Yeah, I think so.
You could be a doctor.
Luckily, got that one covered.
Well, homeowner always gets to do the honors, so give it a try.
Great. Wonderful.
Is that it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice and easy.
Turns super easy now.
And that's all it was. I think that stem unit, that cartridge, just got jammed up with some foreign matter, and I think you're good.
Great.
Kids can wash their hands.
Wonderful.
Anything else left?
I think we covered it all. Thank you
Thanks, my
so much
friend.
for your help, Richard.
Be well.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.